Hey, I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my photo chats. So today I'm going to talk about 100% viewfinders. It's really important to have viewfinders that are 100% instead of 90%. A Nikon FM2 is only at 92%. But a Nikon F3, that has 100% viewfinder. And I was using the F3 and I really liked that 100% viewfinder, especially with glasses. But somebody said you really need to try the Pentax LX. It's a lot less heavy, it's a lot smaller, and the Pentax LX was their top of the line camera. It had a removable finder, you could change out focus screens, but the finder is so big and you can see the whole thing with your glasses and it's brighter than a Nikon. But I said, well, wait a minute, I think I have a LX around here somewhere. And I do. Now, some of these have sticky mirror syndromes, and this one has had it in the past. But if you use it and get it going and use it in a short time, you can sometimes get past it. If the mirror does stick up, it doesn't change the fact the shutter opened and closed at the proper time, exposure. It just means that the mirror is stuck up, and then it'll come back down. It hasn't been doing it lately, so I'll just keep running film through it. It's one of those cameras that it is lighter than a Nikon. It has crazy side hanging straps. It has a great little grip. And it's tiny. That's a little 28mm f2 lens that I found at a local thrift store for, I think it was 25 bucks. And the day I saw that, I was like, huh. There's a Pentax lens. And then I went back the next day. I'm like, what am I thinking? It's a 28 f2. And I went back and I paid the $25 for it. And I ended up having a lens that is a really good bright lens for this little hand-holdable camera. It's kind of like a little Gary Winogrand 28 in a very, very small package. And you have the quality of a weather-sealed camera. In fact, the Pentax LX was the first one that they weather-sealed. And Nikon didn't even have that in their top of the line body. And this was trying to go head to head with the Nikon F3 and the Canon F1, but the pros were all using Nikons and Canons, myself included. In fact, at my newspaper, I can't think of anybody who was using Pentax. There was one guy using Olympus, everybody else using Pentax, Nikon, and one guy using Leicas. And frankly, you couldn't tell the Leicas from the Nikons in the newspaper. And probably that's a factor of newsprint, but it wasn't like you could see, oh, they were definitely sharper or anything. They weren't. And there was no Pentax. There were no Minoltas. There were Nikons and Canons. And so no matter how hard they tried, this camera really didn't compete. It has a 0.02 of a second top shutter speed. It's got an aperture priority mode. It's kind of an easy camera to walk around and just point and shoot. Choose your aperture and go. So that's what I'm going to do. After having shot that Nikon F3 last week, finishing it up with the train photos, this is what's going out with me this week. You can tell I kind of take a different camera out every week whenever I'm going out. I just like to try different ones and work with different ones. Each one has its own uniqueness to me, and I have a very assortment of lenses for different brands, so it's easy for me to find out what do I want to pop on. I knew I'd take the 28 f2 on this because it's a fast 28 and it's nice and bright and it's so easy to focus. So if you find any, sometimes if you look up on eBay ILX, some people weren't able to see how that LX was really just two letters. They thought it was an ILX, and so sometimes you'll see it listed as an ILX, and those won't get as many bids. But this is one I've had for a long time, and it's one of those cameras that it's seeing the light of day. We'll see if the mirror starts sticking. But it's quite a camera, and if you find one and you have to get the sticky mirror fixed, a lot of the old Pentax, including the MX, had that issue. They're worth getting fixed because once they're done, it's an incredibly small, fast, lightweight camera. Compared to the Nikon, I think it's probably 2/3 of the weight of what the Nikon weighs. So it's recommended, and certainly with my glasses, it makes it easy to see the whole finder. If it weren't with a large finder, I probably wouldn't bother. But it's that large finder that draws me to it because I need to be able to work with glasses. All right, that's today's photography talk. If you're enjoying these, hit the subscribe button. If you can support, hit the Patreon. Thanks to all my supporters. I'll be back next time. We'll talk more photography. As always, here's the good light.